Hey, it's Numpy here. I thought it'd be a good idea to do some in-game reviews of MMOs. There's a lot of first impressions out there. There's a lot of playthroughs, but they don't really tell the whole story. I mean, how many times have you started a new MMO and you've played from level 1 all the way to level cap, whatever that is, and you get there and then the only thing you have is maybe a garrison and some Twitter integration, right? Um, the game has nothing to offer at the end game. So I decided that I would do the leveling for you. I would look through the end game. I'd do some of the gear grind, not extreme end game, nothing like expert play, but just to kind of give you an idea of what to expect once you reach the level cap. So here's the first iteration, Guild Wars 2. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time on leveling. This is a video about the end game, right? So I put this in here specifically for Guild Wars 2 because if you're like me and you come from a more traditional MMO, a lot of times you can look at the hearts on the map, which are Guild Wars 2's version of questing, and tend to think that you go from heart to heart. That's not necessarily true. That is a way to do it, but I find it much more entertaining and much more fun and engaging if you follow the events. And we'll get into the world events a little bit later, but if you follow events and follow the flow of the world. That's one thing I can say about leveling in Guild Wars 2 is that the world does feel alive. It doesn't feel static. It's not like going to Northrend and the Scourge is always attacking the same thing over and over and over again, and nothing you do ever changes anything. That's a lot different in Guild Wars 2. And let me just add here too, if you have a friend to play this with, go ahead and bring them along because this is an extremely social game. If you can see from the video here, these players just show up randomly all over the world. Like I said, the world feels alive, feels populated. One thing I do need to add, you don't have to PvE in order to level in Guild Wars 2. You can level up through world versus world or through structured PvP. It's your choice. Again, that's a reoccurring theme in this game. A lot of things are what you want to do and how you want to do it. It's not specifically on a rail, a lot like other MMOs are. Not saying that it's not at times, but I am saying that it is less on rails, if there is such a thing. So let's take a look at masteries. Masteries are Guild Wars 2's answer to not expanding the level cap. Michael Bryan said at PAX South when he announced Heart of Thorns that your level 80 today would be your level 80 tomorrow. Now level 80 is the level cap. So, but here's my problem with masteries. Great idea. Love the idea of horizontal progression, right? But this can feel like so much of a grind. I've seen people running around in the world with 170 some odd mastery points. You can look there at my piddly 32. But my piddly 32 took me a lot of time to do now. Granted, I'm not the most efficient at it, not the best player in the world, but still, where is the end of it, right? I don't see one. And that may be the idea of it, a constant progression of your character, which is a great idea in theory, but in practice can be a bit of a grind. Now, I've already touched on world events a little bit during the leveling section, but I will say here, they're not necessarily a part of the quote-unquote end game, but they do bring on a higher importance when you get into the Heart of Thorns content. Remember I said about your masteries, right? That could be a part of the grind. Well, this is part of that. Because in order to level up your masteries, you need to gain experience just like you would leveling 1 through 80. So here, these are the best way, once you get into the Heart of Thorns content, to be able to level up those masteries. Again, this is not a main goal of endgame, but this is a big part of it. You will be doing a lot of world events because those are the most efficient, best way in order to get your higher masteries, and you'll need your higher masteries in order to do more things within the end game, within the end game zones. Um, Especially when you get into, I found in Living World 3, I didn't have some of the masteries that would have made it easier in order to finish that first chapter. It's only because, one, I didn't know exactly what I needed to level, and as far as my masteries, and I probably spent more time leveling up the wrong things. But you live and you learn. But again, the world events are fun, they're engaging, and they help Tyria feel alive. All right, so SPVP, or structured PvP. This is 5v5, capture the node. This is actually one of my favorite game types, one of my favorite game modes. Even though you would think that using the same maps just about every time, because the selection of maps is actually relatively small, would get boring and stale. But that's just not the case. This game is almost designed for PvP. It is extremely fun, engaging. Now, if you want this to be your end game, they have two ways you can do it. You can do unranked or ranked. And ranked comes in seasons, and you can even do ranked in the off seasons, even though you don't get the track rewards or anything like that. But you can help, min-max, get teams together to be able to push to the next level of PvP, topping the rankings, topping your servers rankings. They also have a new esports crowd that's come up around this. Very entertaining, very engaging part of the end game. Even if you're not a PvPer, I know friends from other MMOs that have come to Guild Wars who loathe PvP. Absolutely can't stand PvP in other games, but come here and have a good time and enjoy this. At least give it a try. I highly recommend it. This is one of the best game modes in Guild Wars 2. Alright, World versus World. Now this game type I have the least experience with, but what I have experienced of it is extremely fun. The closest thing that I can relate this to would be if you've ever played Elder Scrolls Online, Cyrodiil, where you have the three factions fighting for control of territory. This is the same idea, but there are no factions in Guild Wars. So what World v World stands for is server versus server. So your server against two other servers vying for control over a big map. One of the good things about this is that as your server gains territory or takes over keeps or does certain things within World v World, you gain benefits for everybody on your server. I know people who specifically do World v World, and that's all they do. It's very, very fun. Big, massive battles, if you can see there on the screen there. Fighting against a keep. Now I think we're about to get our butts whooped right here, but hey, it happens, right? Now you don't have to be level 80 to enjoy World v World. You can go in there. I'm not sure exactly what level that starts at, but this character I'm on right here is level, I think, around 30, 35, somewhere around there. And that is something I can say about Guild Wars. It does level the playing field a lot. It's not like other games, specifically MMOs, where it's all about what gear you've got, not more or less about what skill you have. Guild Wars 2 levels that playing field very, very well. It's a model for other games to follow, in my opinion. All right, let's talk about dungeons. There's really not much to say here. The dungeons are not really part of the end game. You can see here, this is actually a story mode of a lower level. One cool thing I can say about these dungeons are that you have multiple paths within that dungeon. So you can do the story mode as you're leveling, and then come back a few levels later and go back and do different paths. And what I mean by that is there's different stories, different bosses. The dungeon takes a totally different feel. With that being said, though, they could have done so much more to make this more relevant for level 80s. More relevant for those at level cap. It's just missing something here. As fun as they are, really, if you're not gold farming or doing anything like that, there's really no reason to come back after you hit level cap. And to me, that's really a shame here. So let's take a look at fractals. Now, what are fractals? Fractals are mini dungeons. There's specifically for max level characters, and they progressively get more difficult the higher up in scale that you go. This is actually a lower level scale. Like I said, I'm not doing extreme endgame for you. I'm just giving you a glimpse of what the endgame looks like. I will say this, that fractals are extremely polished, very well done. The difficulty is sufficient, especially for me, somebody who's not an expert at the game. Now, those high-end raiders or high-end fractal people that play this game religiously and have played it for a very long time may disagree, but for the more casual player, these are sufficiently difficult. Difficult enough where you feel like you've actually accomplished something without being so difficult that it feels impossible to get done. And just as an anecdote, me and a few guildmates that relatively new to the game, not experts by any stretch of the imagination, struggle through a lower level fractal. Swampland, I think it was. It's not this actual video here, but it was sufficiently difficult for us to struggle some through, but not difficult enough that it felt impossible. Again, this is one of the best parts of the end game, in my opinion. All right, now let's talk about raids for a second. This is not footage of a raid, disclaimer up front. This is a fractal. I have killed Veil Guardian. I've only done Veil Guardian. The Escort, I've had quite a few pulls on the Key Construct, and Sabathia as well. So my footage ended up basically unusable for this, and wasn't able to get into a raid in order to get any of that footage again. So there we are, which leads me to my review of raids. Raids are fun, they're cool. They are, though, they are more mechanically punishing than raids in other games that I've been a part of, specifically World of Warcraft. However, it's extremely difficult to get into a raid, especially as a new player. Most groups out there are looking for people that already have experience in the fights. Now, there are guilds out there and there are groups out there that do training runs, and they can be few and far between. So you have to be proactive in that. They don't hand it out to you. There is no LFR, which actually is a good thing. I don't think there should be an LFR. I don't think there should be an easy mode of raids. I think it's fine the way it is. However, being a new player, it does make it a bit more difficult to get into those groups. Yeah, raids are a part of the end game. There's a very culture of min-maxing, knowing your class extremely well. If you really want to challenge yourself, you really want to become top-notch at the game, raids are the place for you. And if that's what you love to do, they do have it, and they are very, very well done. If you can see from the footage there from the Fractals, ArenaNet is extremely capable of putting together some very, very good PvE content. So what's the final verdict about Guild Wars 2? If you really don't like to have a gear grind, a treadmill, if you prefer to be more active every day, doing little by little, then yes, Guild Wars 2 is the game for you. However, if you do like the min-max as part of the gear grind, then no, it's not. And at the end of the day, this is probably one of the better MMOs on the market now. And with the vanilla version being free to play, I personally would highly recommend you give this a try. This is a very top-notch, high-polished game. So yeah, there it is. This is my first video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. It's took me a lot of hours to get the footage and to get everything done for you, and I hope I didn't let you down. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment in the section below. In the next couple weeks, I'm going to be deciding on what game to do next for the end game review. Leave a comment, let me know what you'd like to see. I'll take that in consideration. Thanks, guys, and God bless. See you later.